preseason feel any different than previous ones?
I would echo what has been mentioned before, that I think the guys all took their off-season, really handled themselves really well in the off-season, and everybody came in really fit and hungry and good to go. So it obviously bodes well when you only have such a short amount of time to get ready for a game. So it's been very, very professional. Andy Rose also took, I think, the lead a little bit on cleaning up our common area and our locker room a little bit, make it a bit more professional. So little changes like that kind of change the vibe, and especially when everybody comes in fit and hungry, and then you feel like the locker room looks more professional than before. Those are all little details that I think it makes everybody even more hungry to get going, and so that's been very good.
4 weeks to get ready for a competitive game is, I think, pretty much unprecedented for you guys. But does that potentially have a payoff at the other end, where because you do get like 2 weeks off after the Club World Cup before your next MLS game? I mean, can that help you hit the ground running sort of for the MLS season?
It should, right? I mean, scrimmages are great. You tend to start with inter-squad scrimmages, and then see if you can find a local team, and then go down to Tucson or somewhere and play a fellow MLS team. But it's just not the same as a competitive match, right? And so that competitive match is coming up very, very quickly, and it's on a big stage, and we're going to want to do well for ourselves, for the history that it is for the league and for everybody. So we're going to treat it as such, and so that gives you already kind of like a first big moment that you have to prepare for, deal with emotions, deal with butterflies, prepare for with nutrition and things like that. So that should be a test run for obviously when the season starts, for sure.
How much pressure is there? I mean, you mentioned the history of it, and the first time, so the importance of the Club World Cup matches. So how much pressure is there to do well?
There's always as much pressure on something as you want there to be, I think, right? I mean, you can put pressure on yourself here on the training field. I have coaches that have seen me a million times. I have new players here that have never seen me before, really. So you can put pressure on yourself and be like, I want to show what I'm capable of to the person who's seen you a million times and the person who's never seen you before. And I think and I hope that we all put a decent amount of pressure on ourselves, but just enough of pressure that we can also handle. Right? There's a fine balance to be found there. I think we have a good amount of veterans that can help with that if it becomes too overwhelming. But I sure hope that everybody values it and sees it what it is, and it's a historic moment for sure.
Last year didn't end the way any of you guys wanted it to, and there was some sort of like hinting at some issues that were maybe pervasive throughout the year. Do you feel like players took a look at themselves, and do you feel like anything has changed over the offseason in terms of the way maybe things that weren't going right last year?
It's hard to tell. It's way too early. All I can say is that it looks like people were hungry in the offseason. They've treated their offseason with a lot of respect and their plans that they were given, and they've come out here now to ready to work, right? But there's no pressure right now, right? I mean, you can make mistakes on a training field. You just need to be going and giving it your all. The question will be, what when we give up bad goals, when we lose games that we shouldn't be losing? How do we respond then? Who's going to show up to train then, and who's going to be willing to be the professional through and through? That's when it really comes through. Have we learned maybe some things from last year, and can we try to avoid what happened last year?
What were your reactions or view of Nuhu in the World Cup?
Yeah, I mean, great showcase for someone that we know is extremely athletic and loves the spotlight. And what bigger spotlight than the World Cup, right? So we're really happy to see him be able to showcase what we know he's capable of. I mean, all of the guys, it's just really good. Hopefully, I mean, for me, that would be a childhood dream, just to be part of a team there. So hopefully they were able to really toe that line again with, putting a little bit of pressure on themselves or where they want to represent themselves, but also giving themselves enough space to be able to enjoy it and realize what they're achieving in that moment. But looked like they all did that, so that's good.
Was there any fan guying as far as wanting to ask him a little bit about what that was like, since that is something that you feel as a challenge?
Well, I was super intrigued to ask our U.S. guys with all the drama that happened and to see if I could get a little inside info, But I'm not going to share that here. But that was kind of nice to have a little insight there.
Wow. Well, wait a. Okay. I'm not going to ask. For someone who usually has such a good gauge on the team, if there was a motto for this season, for this group, what would that be?
Oh. That's a great question. I would say look for new heights. I think we've always tried to have a high standard, and we've been able to make history. Even with the frustrations of last year, we were able to make history. But always look for something new, a new challenge, a new goal, a higher standard. So I hope we can try to make that one of our goals. And because if you have that as a goal and you're willing to put in the work, then good things will come, right? I don't think you need to really be focused too much on the end result, because if you're the stupid saying, focus on the process. But it's true, right? You need to have lofty goals. You need to know that, hey, if we have those goals, it's going to require a lot of work. But hopefully if we have that, then we're willing to do that on the training field when it comes to putting in work.
Go ahead.
What do you feel is most important for you guys as defensively to fix from last season?
Defensively? I think we gave up silly goals at the worst times, and we obviously lost a lot of games by one goal, and it was quite defeating mentally. That's very challenging. I know that was more towards the end of the year, but I look at Atlanta away, right? Is even just, you have to grab a point there. If you know that you've been struggling, then on the road you take that point instead of, there's a fine line again. Do you find that they're reeling? Okay, let's get 3 points, but that's a great thought. But with a team that's been struggling and not being able to get points in the road or being able to grind out results, maybe we should have been satisfied with one, because maybe we could have built on that in the next game, right? But if you never find that confidence, then it just becomes very, very difficult. So just harder to beat, and no single little mental errors, and so we can all say like that was a proud earned whatever it is, a point or 3 points or shutout, and we can all kind of enjoy that.
Sort of related to all that, this team has always aspired to great things, to trophies. Mm-hmm. Does missing the playoffs mean our standard is we just got to get back to the playoffs and then we'll figure it out, or or playoffs still sort of like that's the baseline expectation still? That makes sense.
Yeah, no, I want to compete for trophies. That I think that's the standard of this franchise, and it seems like more and more now you have more and more opportunities with obviously different tournaments arriving as well. So so I guess you can go through the process of elimination. What do you have to do to be able to put yourself in positions to win trophies? Well, you can't win MLS Cup if you don't make the playoffs. So yeah, there's a goal right there, right? Can we maybe make a bigger push in the Open Cup? All the Liga MX cups that they got cooking there. Maybe that's an opportunity. These are all opportunities, and ultimately, we play a team sport where we're trying to win trophies. And the more opportunities you have a year, the more crowded your schedule gets. But the better, right? If you have one opportunity, then that's hard. It's difficult. So if you have 4 opportunities and you give it your best shot, and hopefully along the way you have a real opportunity where you find yourself in a final and you can get ready for it and take that chance.
We've talked a lot over the years about how one season seems to blend into the other because your seasons are so long every year. You guys you make a run to MLS Cup. The downside to that is you start the next season with almost no time off.
Yeah.
This year you guys actually got to have a real off season.
Yeah.
Do you think that was useful?
From what I've seen so far, yes, I'd say so. Like I said, guys are hungry. Guys apparently were hungry at home already because they put in the work. I know for me it was nice because I could really, take my mind off soccer for a while as well. Mentally kind of get a break and get super stoked about getting back on the field mentally. Fitness-wise, again, you have just a bit more space to try to figure things out. What do you want to do? What do you need to do? So that's been good, and every indication so far is that it's been good. But again, there's the one thing that's missing in preseason for the most part is pressure, right? And ultimately, when we're talking about what the difference between winning a game or giving up a silly goal at the very end, that's dealing with pressure, right? And so that is yet to be seen. We're trying to build a really good foundation right now so that we can deal with that.
Steph, Garth was a very hands-on GM, very present. What did you make of his departure? Were you surprised? And is that something that affects players in any way?
I had a really good relationship with Garth, obviously fellow goalkeeper, crazier hairstyle than me when he was playing. But no, I appreciated his honesty. You could talk to him. He was out here. It felt like he was part of the squad. He wasn't, maybe finding out information through a third party. He understands the game and saw it and was here when we were in the trenches, and he kind of witnessed things, and that makes them part of the whole crew, and I kind of appreciate that. And he's achieved a lot with us, right? He's achieved a lot, and from what it sounds like, the opportunity that he's got there with Atlanta is something that's just it's a new challenge too, right? Again, you're looking, talking about finding higher ways to have even higher standards, and maybe that was a challenge that he was looking for, and I wish him all the best. I think we'll be in really good hands with Craig. Kind of obviously has been an understudy, it seems, and has seen how Garth operates, and he's probably going to put in his own flair here and there, but already I think he has a really good relationship with the players that he's been here with for the last few years, and so that bodes well. I'm excited for him to see how he's going to handle all that challenge and make this team his own and help us reach new heights.
Last question,
kind
guys.
of a big question here. How would it impact you guys if it was designed that he was just solely a lockdown defender?
How would that
impact them?
Well,
How do you feel that would? Could you be successful in this game if that was?
I'm sure he could. If you have such an athletic freak as a left back, I don't know if you want to handcuff him too much, right? I understand. Trust me, that's coming from a goalkeeper. I want my defenders to think about defense first and foremost. But if you have someone that is unmatched in terms of his athleticism, then you want to see if you can find ways where you can maybe use that offensively as well, right? And so I think that would really. No, I don't see it. And good luck trying to chain Newhook to the ground. So probably not going to happen. So
So he's always going to try and.
probably.
That's what you're saying.
Probably. Yeah.